You're about to get not one, but two family trade secret recipes in one video. This sounds like an infomercial. Not one, not two, but two family trade secrets. Welcome back to Cooking for Fun. Wedding cakes, part 3. You can tell from the outfit being the same that we're shooting and baking all of the cakes on the same day, but I'm kind of liking it because it's testing my wedding cake process. So for my wedding cakes, if you're, new and just really interested in a chocolate bourbon pecan pie cake, which I would also be interested. But for my wedding cakes, I did 4 cakes, a something old, something new, something borrowed, and something tiramisu. And this is the something old cake, which I wanted to combine 2 of our favorite recipes in a 4-layer cake. And those 2 recipes are Eric's 30th birthday cake. It's a chocolate creme fraiche cake, delicious. And the most rich, decadent pecan pie of all time. So is it 2 layers of cake and 2 pecan pies smushed together? Yes. Is it the best thing you're ever going to taste? Also, yes. The ingredients that you're going to need for this recipe, starting with the pecan pies. This is for 1 pecan pie. I have to double this. 16 ounces of raw pecan halves, 300 grams brown sugar, 6 large eggs, 360 grams of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted, 6 tablespoons bourbon, 1 teaspoon kosher salt, 2 tablespoons all-purpose flour, 256 grams of chocolate chips, and 36 graham crackers, and 1/2 cup of melted salted butter.
That was impressive. Did you do all that mental math?
It was mental math, which is why I toggled between cups and ounces and grams. That won't be the format of the written recipe. Let's jump into it. We're going to start with a little multitasking. So we're going to toast some pecans, and then we're going to line these pans. So what I love about this pecan pie recipe and why it has been our holiday staple for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and every holiday that I have known Eric and his family is that it is a 1-bowl recipe. It is so easy. It's just a hand mix. And never fails me. Pecans first, and then we're gonna move over to making the crust, which is semi-homemade because I use graham crackers. They're the world's most perfect cookie. Now, when I first inherited this recipe, it was from Eric, my fiance's mother, and I've since tweaked and changed a few things. Like I took out the high fructose corn syrup, and I made it a homemade crust instead of a store-bought graham cracker crust. Just like small things that won't change the recipe, but will slightly elevate it. Not even elevate it, just make it like a little bit homier. Oh, I threw in a ton of bourbon. Mini food processor. We're gonna go in with 2 packets of graham crackers, pulse that first, and then add 1/2 cup of melted butter. These measurements make 2 crusts. I will also have the ingredients for if you just want to make 1 pie below. It's great on its own. You don't need to be putting it between 2 things of cake. And graham cracker crumble goes evenly distributed into each. It will have a wet sand texture, but once you densely pack it, it'll come together. And then just a circular cup, glass, whatever, and that'll make sure that you get all the edges when you pack it in. And when I first made a graham cracker crust, I was really stressed that it was crumbly and not tacky when I first food processed it. I thought it should be like sticking together when you clump it with your fingers. And what that led me to do was add so much butter that butter burned in the oven because it was baking on the bottom. So crumbly is fine. The pecan pie, that stickiness of it all, will hold everything for this crust into place. A nice toasted pecan. And we're gonna pull out some of the prettier ones for the topping. If your hands are sensitive to heat, don't do what I'm doing. Okay, that's done. Ideally, I'd want those to be pecan halves, but these are already chopped, so I'm saving time that way, and we'll judge when we're at the wedding. Now, the 1-bowl wonder of it all, because all this is going in here, and then it's going in there. 300 grams of brown sugar, 6 large eggs. Whoa. And let's whisk that together first so that the brown sugar doesn't clump. Then this is one of the changes I made to the recipe I inherited. They used high fructose corn syrup. I'm using maple syrup. Doesn't give too much of a mapley flavor, which is actually remarkable because maple syrup usually just turns everything into brunch. But here it actually adds a really nice richness undertone, but you don't like get hit with a maple syrup flavor. 4 tablespoons of melted butter. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And this is also why I think the maple syrup doesn't overpower, but we're doing 6 tablespoons of bourbon. That was not in the recipe I inherited. I think it makes everything so much better. And then the 30 grams of flour can easily clump. So we're just gonna do a dusting of it over the top. And this recipe can easily be done gluten-free, like gluten-free flour or cornstarch here works just as well. It's a very, very small binder. What mostly is gonna be happening is the sugars and eggs coagulating in the oven to create something really creamy, gooey, glossy. We can call it pecan pie glossy. Gorgeous. And I have done this with really nice chocolate. I have done this with really cheap chocolate. I have done this with any kind of chocolate. These are the chips where so many people are gonna be like, those have anti-melting on the outside. It's gonna be horrible. It's amazing. It's delicious. It's the holidays. This or chopped chocolate, so good. And that's our one bowl wonder. And you see why we make this every holiday? That is it. If this was just one pecan pie, we pour it straight in, but I want to get even amounts of like the really filling-y parts and the goo. So I'm going to use a spoon to distribute these. I'm deeply conflicted. Okay. This one has more goo. That one's going to be the topper. And concentric circles. I don't think I have enough. It's okay. Okay, I tried to fill the pockets as I could. It's not going to be as beautiful as if it was like full pecan halves, but it's a note for next time. They will go into the oven at 350 for 45 minutes. Okay, perfect. They look perfect. The chocolate chips have kept their shape, and honestly, I like it. So, I need 2 hands. Ooh, even our concentric circles turned out quite nice. Gonna let those cool completely, and we'll dive right into the chocolate cake. I need to boil some water. Hold, please. For the chocolate cakes, we are going to need 60 grams Dutch processed cocoa powder, 30 grams unsweetened chocolate, 240 grams of boiling water, 330 grams of brown sugar, 120 grams of cake flour, 120 grams of all-purpose flour, both sifted, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon kosher salt, 2 sticks of unsalted softened butter, 60 grams of creme fraiche, 2 large eggs, 2 egg yolks. Let's do it. So these, very densely sweet, very rich, very caramely, and that's why the chocolate cake can't actually be too sweet of a cake. It's a very good bitter chocolate counterpoint to these pecan pies. And the reason why is we're using unsweetened 100% chocolate, starting with that, and then 60 grams of cocoa powder, Dutch processed, and my boiling water, 240 grams. Whisk this quickly so that the chocolate melts, and it will look really thin, but this thickens up into kind of a chocolate syrup texture. You want to get it very, very cool though before adding it to the rest of the cake mixture. We're gonna do the reverse creaming method with this cake. And that's because the 8-inch cake will give it a lot of height, but I want the cake to still remain really tender. And what the reverse creaming method does is it eliminates too much gluten development. And I think it's so funny when people say, sift after measuring. You can sift before measuring, but let's say you were putting this on a scale. I like to put the sifter into the bowl and just measure into it. And then sift from there. And that is 120 grams of all-purpose flour and 120 grams of cake flour. We've talked about this before. Cake flour just has a little less protein in it, which yes, flour has protein, but that makes it so that there is a little less gluten development. And you want to mix this on low just so that the flour and the brown sugar are equally combined. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Brown sugar is acidic, so baking soda reacts really well with brown sugar. That's why there's no baking powder in this recipe. And then my favorite part, softened butter. I'd say like 2 tablespoon piece at a time until this starts to look like a really rich cookie dough. Okay, as soon as it is starting to look like this, cut the brakes, pressing it all out. And we're gonna now do the elements that make this into a batter. So it's just 2 eggs, 2 egg yolks, and 60 grams of creme fraiche, which is way less than you think. It kind of seizes into the eggs, which is why you want to do this before adding it to the batter, because if you do that, everything will separate. won't be great. So this particular cake recipe, it really shows when you don't scrape down the sides. The fluffiness that we see here, you will not get that all throughout the batter if you aren't scraping down the sides. And this has cooled down to warm. You don't want it blazing, boiling hot, but if it's warm, it's totally fine. This is gonna go on the lowest setting, and we're gonna pour this in very, very slowly. We're gonna scrape down our sides because you can obviously see the stand mixer just doesn't collect everything that you need it to collect. And this batter only whips into peak fluffiness if you get everything that you need. It's pretty. That does not take a lot of work, and it's probably my favorite batter of the wedding cakes. Don't tell the others. The thing is, I need these 8-inch springform pans from the pecan pies. So they're not fully cooled, but they're fine. You know, this is like why it's the foolproof holiday pie. You can do anything you want with them, and they're like, okay. Oh, this is my, oh, are we rolling? It's okay.
Not on this one.
To you, this is my favorite part. It's like graham cracker mixed with pecan. You burned it.
No. Get out here.
It's like the sugary part with the graham cracker part.
Oh yeah.
So fluffy. Wow, they look so pretty. And then my tip for pushing out cake batter, I start in the center and then I swirl the pan. And then that pushes the batter out to the edges. I love this cake because it will dome in the oven and it'll come out and you'll be like, oh no, I'm gonna have to cut this before I layer it, but then it'll collapse and be perfectly flat. And then we're gonna pop these in the oven, 350 degrees, 30 minutes-ish, 25 to 30. Oh, don't be dramatic. Don't be a drama queen. Wonderful. You can hear a light fizzing sound, but by this time I'm pretty good at knowing when they're ready. If you are really nervous and you want to insert a knife and have it come out clean, you can totally do that, but I'm pretty sure that these are pretty good. You can also touch them. These are springing back. So these and the pecan pies, we're gonna wrap, and I'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to day 2. I hope you had a pleasant sleep of whatever transition we just did. I had a great night's sleep and I'm waiting for it to kick in. So today we're gonna be making the frostings. We have a bourbon brown butter buttercream that's gonna be in between all the layers, and then a chocolate bourbon frosting that is gonna be around everything. I browned butter this morning without you. So to make it up to you, a montage of every time we browned butter on this channel. Beautiful. Okay, so we have 113 grams of brown butter and we are going over to the stand mixer because frosting day is also called powdered sugar on everything day, but we're gonna try to mitigate how much powdered sugar gets on my clothing. Now this brown butter has been browned but sitting out for about 30 minutes, so it's still liquid, but it's not hot. And that means we can go in with softened butter and nothing catastrophic will happen. If it was still hot, the softened butter would melt and then you wouldn't be able to get a frosting. I'm gonna whip this together really quickly just to get it all into a softened butter state. Start on the lowest level, then move up one level, and then it'll get really, really gorgeous. It'll look like that. Now, powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is, it's got a tendency to kick up, get everywhere, fly. Sifting takes so much time and has been driving me nuts lately, so I have developed a method that I think gets frosting pretty clump-free without driving you absolutely up the wall. So I'm whisking this to break up any clumps. And I'm gonna start on the lowest setting, adding about 2 tablespoons at a time. I'm gonna use the brown butter spatula to scrape down the sides because a little bit more brown butter never hurt anybody. This is kind of a take on an American buttercream. Super fluffy because we've been beating the sugar with the fat, so it's aerated a little bit. The sugar granules interact with the butter. They whip in more air, that's why it gets fluffy. But an American buttercream has heavy cream in it, and this version of our American buttercream is even more American because we're putting bourbon in it. My gift to my fiance and a very important part of this particular wedding cake. I'm so sorry for doing that without you. 1 tablespoon of heavy cream went in. You don't need a close-up. 1 tablespoon of bourbon. I forgot salt. Don't forget the salt.
Yeah.
It's a first buttercream on deck. Second buttercream, like same sentence, different font. A whopping 454 grams of softened butter. And we'll start it on low speed, get it higher and higher and higher until it looks exactly like that softened butter did. Perfect. That took all of 30 seconds. And then the one difference is that where there was 40 extra grams of powdered sugar in the brown butter buttercream, this is going to have 30 grams of Dutch processed cocoa powder. All these measurements will be listed in the recipe. Same thing, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of bourbon. It's only 1 tablespoon, but you really taste it. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Walter heard there was powdered sugar on the floor. Obviously came. Oh, wow. Okay, this looks perfect. I'm going to get the cake stand and we're going to start assembling. Cake stand on deck, cardboard cake platform on deck. This will change your life if you are nervous about transporting cakes or anything. And we're going to go. So I'm going to use a little blip of buttercream on the bottom. Is that right on? Yeah, right on the center. And then a generous amount of the brown butter bourbon buttercream will go in between each layer. I was talking to Eric. I was like, do we have enough to serve everybody? And he was like, there are 2 pies in that cake. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Are you helping?
She's an artiste.
I have moral support from Walter. We are gonna go down. Whoop. And the buttercream really is just to stick everything together. That graham cracker crust is that's the real layer here. Perfect. Where we need. Actually, it's looking pretty even. The layers themselves don't look even, but it's all about the height and the column looking even. What's nice about the pecan pies having very clean edges is that the edges of this cake are gonna be pretty easy. We're gonna take to heart that I'm just a girl making her own wedding cakes, and if you want like full baker energy tutorials, there are tons of those online. We are quite literally cooking for fun. The key that I've learned for a good crumb coat is you wanna seal up the edges first. So that's what we're gonna do with our chocolate buttercream. So we're gonna seal them up. For the record, this is my 3rd time making this cake on camera. I think my 4th time making this cake in the world. And when I first made this icing, I was like, oh no, the icing's delicious. It's exactly how I want it to taste on my wedding. But this color is kind of awful. It's gonna darken to the color of the chocolate chips in the fridge. Okay. And there will be plenty of time to clear up all these bottom edges, so do not worry about that. We have half of our frosting left. And now I'm gonna do the thick coat. Okay, it's as like smooth as I want it. The trick that I've learned after you get everything is kind of set and you really want edges to be clean, a bench scraper, dip it in warm water, ever so lightly, some shakes, and let us begin. We don't have time for this to get fully darkened, but you have to trust me that if it rests in the fridge for 12 hours, this light brown will turn into dark brown. Is it bad luck to cut your wedding cake without your fiancé present? He's at the office. He won't miss it. Okay. Oh. Whew. We did ask them, we were like, can we serve our own wedding cakes? And the caterer said yes. I'm starting to think that's a really bad idea.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, wow. Okay, one more. Chocolate cake that never fails me, the pecan pie that never fails me, and you can see it, like the pecan pie is gooey, but the crust is thick. Brown butter, bourbon, buttercream, doing what it does best. It comes out really white and you're like, oh my God, what is that? I forgot we had put that in there. This is excessive, but it's balanced. Wow, okay. This is a lot of chocolate. It is death by chocolate, but the chocolate cake isn't too dense, which is nice. And it's not too sweet. It's like a bitter chocolate cake. It's bourbony. The graham cracker crumble is kind of needed because it gets softened between the cake. So it is like you baked your own cake layer, but it's just graham crackers and butter. Whoever gets this at the wedding, very lucky. I'm so glad this pie recipe is out in the world. You can make the pie on its own and have a great time. I'm so glad this cake recipe is out in the world. You can make this cake, just layer it as a 2-layer and have a great time. But altogether, it's a particular kind of crazy, but it's my kind of crazy. So thank you for watching. We are dropping all of these episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is number 3. We have one more to go. But this one was the good one. You chose well. Does anybody want to bite? Okay. Yeah.
We've been waiting 2 days for this.
I know. This is dense. One for you.
Oh my god.
One for you. It's particular kind of crazy.
Oh my god.
I know. And that's a thick slice.
You're right, whoever gets this